morning, everyone. Happy November. Happy Tuesday. So happy to see all of you today. Welcome you joining today's Savor at Home and Learn series, Navigating the Home Inspection Process. I'm Pauline Lam from Cotai Realty, your 2021 co-chair, Education Committee, West San Gabriel Valley Realtors. A friendly reminder, all participants will be muted in the meeting, and should you have any questions, please enter it into the chat box. The speaker will answer your question during the Q&A section. This section is being recorded and will be available on the YouTube channel, West San Gabriel Valley Realtors. Now I'm so glad to have our Jeff Huang, Education Committee member, and he will also be our 2022 Education Co-Chair. And to introduce you, our very special speaker today, Chase Kerr. Take it away, Jeff.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Pauline. My name is Jeff Huang from eXp Realty. The Education Committee of the West San Gabriel Valley Realtors is happy to host today's topic, Navigating the Home Inspection Process. Our guest speaker today is Chase Kerr from Morrison Plus Property Inspections. Chase earned his associate degree in business administration and a BA degree in business marketing from Oklahoma Baptist University, all the while competing in collegiate baseball. Chase serves as the field marketing associate and head of franchise sales and development for his company. Without further ado, let's give a very warm welcome to our guest speaker, Chase Kerr. Chase, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Jeff and Pauline. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys and then making sure that we're good to go. So first off, thank you everyone for allowing me to jump in today and share some information about the home inspection process and how you can navigate it as a realtor, especially when you're calling in for a home inspection, and just list some tips and tricks for you that will make your life, I think, a whole lot easier, because everyone loves a smooth closing process and a smooth inspection process. So that's what I'm here to try to provide some information for you guys on to help facilitate that. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and get into it. Once again, my name is Chase Kerr. I'm with Morrison Property Inspections, and today I'll be talking about navigating the home inspection process. So to begin, let's see here, if I go to the next slide. So what information do you need to know when scheduling an inspection? And just really quickly, you guys see the full slide correctly?
Yeah, if it's possible, I think there's a request to put it into maximum screen for
to make sure that you guys can. So again, technical difficulties, right, with Zoom, but we're here. So to begin, let's dive right in. So what information do you need to know when scheduling for an inspection? So a few things that are helpful for you when you're calling in to schedule, or even if you're scheduling online through your provider. A couple of things that are helpful to have on hand are your property profile. And I'll be diving into kind of breaking down each one of these points here in a minute, but your property profile essentially is the age, the square footage of the home address, and the details of the home that you're going to inform our scheduling team of. That way they know the proper services that you might need for your client to kind of bring value back to them. Second, you got to make sure the utilities are all the way on. If they're not on, then just let us know. That way we can better serve you and your clients. Whether or not the family or the seller's family has pets on the property, as well as notifying any tenants or occupants if it's a rental property or something of that nature. Padlocks and additional keys, that's something that's really important as well, because sometimes there's locked closets or locked areas of the home that may prevent us to access it during the inspection process, which obviously we want to be able to complete a full inspection for you and your clients. So be sure to have access to those locked areas if there are any. Personal items to be removed from access points. Oftentimes, the homes are still furnished. Someone's still living in the home during the inspection process. So to make sure that personal items are removed from access points of, let's say, the attic access or the crawl space, or even a potential hallway closet or something of that nature. By removing those items and kind of clearing the area, it allows you to, or allows our inspectors, excuse me, to better serve you and better inspect the area. Additional inspections and enhancements, and that's something that my scheduling team, it's something I'll be going over here towards the end of my slideshow, of additional services that can bring value to your client and to improve the home inspection process. Kind of break down each one of those points I just mentioned. To begin, like I mentioned, the property profile. That includes the address of the home, which I'm sure obviously you guys already have at hand with you when calling in, as well as the age and square footage of the home, because that's typically how the pricing of the services are performed. The older the home gets, the larger the home gets, the more expensive the services typically get due to the time aspect of an older home or a larger home typically take a little bit longer to inspect. The questions such as, does it have a tile roof? And I'll get into some additional services that might be able to enhance your inspection if it does, because a tile roof we prefer not to walk on, and most inspectors don't walk on due to the fact that they can break. And that's the last thing we want to do for you and your client when we're on site there on the property. Are there any ADUs or sheds on the property that you are aware of? If there's, oftentimes it's easy to forget about maybe a back house or a converted garage that is now a living space. And those things are areas of the property that are very valuable to get inspected. So if the property does have that, be sure to let the scheduling team know, for whoever you're calling in for, that is the case. So that way they can best serve you and best give you the correct price point to inspect all those areas of the property. Whether or not there's a pool or spa on the property as well too. Pool and spa inspections are becoming more and more popular amongst all inspection companies out there. And so whether they're in ground or above ground, be sure to let your inspection team know ahead of time. That way they can better prepare themselves and make sure that they have the correct time frame for what they need to spend on your property when they're there. And most other information about the property is available online that our scheduling team is capable of finding. But if they have any specific questions, or if there's any very unique features of the home that you may not think online resources share with you, then be sure just to go ahead and just share that information with the scheduling team, and they'll be able to help you out. Next is utilities. Again, it's really important for all utilities to be turned on during the inspection process. Let's give an example. If the water is not turned on, it's really hard to check to see if there's leaks in the piping or in the shower or any other high water usage areas. And by having utilities turned on, and every utility turned on, it brings value to the inspection, because then we're able to perform a more thorough job throughout the inspection process. And it gives, again, most value back to your clients as the home buyer, which after all, that's who we're serving. That's what we want to bring the value to. So by having all the utilities turned on at the property, that will be able to solve that issue. Next, we have pets. I know most families have pets, whether they're a cat or a dog. And if it's a dog, whether it's a Chihuahua or a German Shepherd, they might be nice to the family, but they might not be nice to the home inspector. And so it's important to allow them to get a heads up on that. So if there are going to be pets on the property during the inspection process, not only for our safety, but also for the safety of the animals, we would hate to open the door and have a family pet maybe escape from the laundry room or the garage that we didn't know they were being kept up in or being stowed away in. And so the last thing we want to do is either have an inspector possibly get injured or a pet to run off and cause kind of a stressful situation in an already stressful environment of a home inspection. Second is tenants. If there are tenants or occupants on the property or planning on being on site during the inspection, be sure that they're aware of when we're coming as inspectors. Both alert the inspector as well as the occupants, so that way there's no miscommunication and both sides can be prepared, especially nowadays where there's been a couple of instances of safety, both for not only inspectors, but realtors and anyone associated in a transaction, to where if it's a rental property, oftentimes tenants aren't the happiest to see a home inspector, because that may mean that the property is being sold, which then puts their essential housing aspect of their life with a big question mark next to it. And that could cause a stressful situation. And if they didn't know that you're showing up, there might be some issues that could arise. So be sure to let them know that we are coming if you are scheduling home inspection with tenants or occupants in the home. Locks, like I mentioned earlier, if there's locked closets or locked areas of the house, be sure to get them unlocked prior to the inspection, or at least have access to them during the inspection with a key. So that way we can completely perform the inspection, because we'd hate to see where a situation where either hallway closet or even potentially a bedroom, the door might be locked for one reason or another, thus not allowing us to perform the full inspection, which after all, that's our number one goal. And by having all the areas of the home unlocked, it brings the most value, again, back to your clients, and that's the number one goal. For access points, oftentimes, like I said, the home is furnished during the home inspection. Not always, but most of the time it is. And if it is furnished, be sure that areas are cleared from personal items. We've had instances where you try to inspect into a closet and the closet is stuffed full of personal items, and it may make it hard for the inspector to either access potential crawl space, a potential attic access, which we would hate to see, because there are important components in those areas that need to be inspected. And so by clearing those areas of personal items, it allows the inspector to access them and provide value. So going into some additional inspections, most companies now, including Morrison, we actually do more than just a general home inspection. There's now additional services out there available to you that add value to your home inspection when they're needed. One of them being is sewer scope inspections. This is where, as you see in the picture on the left-hand side, the gentleman running a camera down the drain out of the home into the piping. And as he's doing that, he's actually verbally narrating the video as well too. So that way, when it gets submitted into a report, it allows you and your home buyer to not only watch the video, but also hear the narration of the video, so you understand what you're looking at. Because if we just gave you just a video of a pipe, you might not understand exactly what that entails. So the audio narration of it is very important, and it brings value to you and your client. And this inspection is done to essentially find either potential root intrusion into pipes, potential blockages, potential breaks, or cracked connections within the piping system. A lot of old homes, in a lot of homes with large trees on the property, this is oftentimes an issue with the plumbing system, is the roots tend to either bend or break or intrude into the piping system, which after all is extremely important, extremely costly to repair if needed, because not only do you have to break ground and dig into the earth to not only find the pipe and replace it, but you also do have to deal with the city connections that run out to the street, and the city connections and the coordination between the city and the correct professional who's correcting the issue with the pipe can be very time consuming, which is the last thing that we would want to see for a home buyer. Second, on the picture to the right, you see a gentleman looking up into a chimney. Chimney inspections are popular. They're not as popular in the state of California because it's warm here. We have the blessing of great weather all the time. However, there are certain clients and certain individuals who make the chimney of their home their focal point, or a very important piece of their home or piece of their living room that they like to access, and I like to utilize on a consistent basis during the colder months. And so we also offer level 2 chimney inspections in order to serve those specific clients who are looking for that, to where we're actually able to run a camera up the flue of the chimney and be able to inspect for any potential breaks or cracks in the chimney, spark arresters, and also buildup of debris in there for a heavy use fireplace, where if the buildup is at a certain level, it actually can cause a fire danger or even a carbon monoxide danger, which would be the last thing we want for any potential homeowner buying a home. And then past those 2 additional inspections, these are what we call additional smart enhancements that are offered as well on inspections as well too, that you can utilize for your client. Number 1 being something I mentioned earlier, which is pool and spa inspections. With the pool and spa inspections, we're able to inspect the decking of the pool, the edges of the pool. We can't get into the water and inspect the bottom. However, if we see anything noticeable, we can mark it down. But mainly what we're inspecting are the pool pumps and motors for both the tub, both the potential jacuzzi or hot tub, as well as the pool itself, as well as their electrical panels, switches and outlets, and their heating equipment. The next one over, Repair Pricer. This is a newer service that is starting to be offered, and it's becoming very popular amongst a lot of agents with an estimated cost of repairs. And we utilize this service through a third party called Repair Pricer. This third party is a group of contractors that we're able to submit our home inspection report to, and within 24 hours or less, they come back with an estimated cost of repairs of all of the defects that we've pointed out on a home inspection report. With, I believe, the accuracy of the prices are up to 98%, and they utilize local pricing. They utilize local contractors in their area to put together these lists. That way you get the most accurate list and accurate estimated cost of repairs for your client that you could then utilize as a bargaining tool, obviously for the home and throughout the inspection process. The third one over, Thermal Enhancement, is a very popular service or a very popular enhancement to the home inspection as well too. In the photo, you can see the gentleman holding a infrared camera over a panel. And the bright spot in the panel essentially shows that there is a hot spot within the panel, within one of the switches. And that allows us to mark down to, because oftentimes older homes may have an overloaded panel, or it might be just an old panel in general, an outdated one that may need replacing. And with the camera, we can run it over not only high electricity used areas like a panel, but we can also run it through areas with high water usage, like a laundry room or a bathroom or a kitchen, to where we can actually find moisture spots within the walls or within the flooring of the home, to where we can see, we can't see through the wall. However, it does allow us to point out areas that aren't visible to the naked eye in a lot of situations. And then thirdly, as I mentioned earlier, with the tile roof situation, not wanting to walk on tile roofs, but still wanting to provide that value and provide that service to your client of inspecting the roof, we offer drone. And drone is becoming more and more popular amongst home inspectors. One thing I do want to point out for everyone when calling in and utilizing a drone service, be sure that the inspector that is flying the drone is licensed to do so. You do not have to be licensed to recreationally fly a drone. However, if you're going to inspect using a drone on a property, it is important to be licensed, because there are restricted airspaces, especially here in California and in Southern California, where we have airports, not only in LA County, multiple of them, but also Orange County as well too. And if you're selling homes in certain areas, there may be restricted airspace around them. And so if someone's flying a drone, they need to be licensed. They need to understand how to operate it for not only their own safety, but the people around them, and making sure that they don't fly any unrestricted air zones that they otherwise could be fined for, which will cause an issue in terms of the inspection process, which is the last thing that we want from you guys or for you guys. And a few final notes, just to wrap up. A standard home inspection should take anywhere from 2 to 3 hours. Obviously, if you're dealing with larger estates, it may take slightly longer, but thankfully, there's an opportunity to where you can get 4 or 5 inspectors out there at the same time as a team with Morrison. That way we can get a large estate done in a fairly reasonable amount of time, making sure that you don't have to spend your entire day at a property waiting for us to inspect. But a typical standard home inspection should take about 2 to 3 hours. Delivery of the home inspection reports, at least I can't speak for everybody, but for Morrison, will be same day or within at least 24 hours, depending on that specific inspector's schedule and how many inspections they had that day. If you were the last inspection on the day, he may need to wait till the morning time to release it to you, just because of time restraints and his need to get some shut eye at the end of the night. But other than that, the last tip I have, or last final note I have, is be sure to make sure that your inspectors are certified. Not many people know this, but California is an unregulated state in terms of home inspections. What this means is you are not required to be licensed in the state of California to perform a home inspection. So anybody with a ladder and a flashlight can claim to be a home inspector and can go out and perform a home inspection on a property for you. Although that's not the wisest decision for them, because that opens them up to opportunities for liability, it still can be done. And so you need to make sure your inspectors are certified I know for Morrison property inspections, all of our inspectors are certified anywhere from INTERNACHI all the way up to CREA, which is the highest standards in California. But that's just another helpful tip to make sure that there isn't any liability that opens up to your client by not having a certified inspector on the property performing the service for you. And again, I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to speak in front of you and share some information about the home inspection process. I hope I was able to give some helpful tips to you for your next time you're calling in, and some insight into what to look for and what you need within an inspector when calling in, and the right questions to ask. And if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to give this number a call. That's our scheduling team. They do an awesome job at answering questions. Even if you're just looking for a price point, they'd be happy to share it with you and happy to provide value to you wherever we can. So thank you guys again. I appreciate your time today. And I guess we can open it up to some questions here in a second.
Yeah, we do have a handful of questions. The first one being is, do you cover the OC area? From the questions from Jolie.
Yes, we do. We cover, thankfully, Morrison. We have about 8 locations throughout LA and Orange County, and as well as the Inland Empire going out to Riverside County. So we cover everything from Ventura all the way out to Joshua Tree, all the way down to Laguna, and actually San Diego as well too. So we cover pretty much all of Southern California.
Very good. And then now with the whole daylight saving time happening, does inspections happen at night, or what would you guys advise about that?
With the daylight savings and with it getting as dark as it is now, what we try to do, our scheduling team tries to get our inspectors out there to where they can perform at least all of the exteriors of the home when it's still light outside. So all their work on the outside of the house when the sun is still up. And then if it gets dark, by that time they should be inside of the house with obviously the lights on, to where then they can still perform the inspection. Our number one concern is we just don't want to be inspecting outside in the dark, because then that opens up an opportunity to miss something, and that's the last thing we would want. So our scheduling team does a pretty good job at managing the specific start times for our inspectors to mitigate the possibility of that happening.
Thank you, Chase. Our next question is from Frederick Murgra. Apologies for the pronunciation. What would be the challenges when you inspect a condo or a townhouse?
Actually, believe it or not, condos and townhomes are actually a little bit easier for our inspectors. And they're typically, the reason for that is they're typically smaller in size. However, in an instance with, for instance, the roof of a large condo or a large townhome that might be 2 or 3 stories high, some areas are covered by HOA, some areas aren't. It's just a property specific on that end. However, we try to be as thorough as we can in terms of providing the information your client's going to need. So if we can get up on the roof, we will. If we need to fly the drone to get up there and visually see some things, then we will do that as well, if that's something you're looking for. However, it's oftentimes property specific, but condos and townhomes are typically actually an easier process for our inspectors.
Okay. All right, next question is from Loy Tao. Is your company offer drone inspection?
Drone, yes. The drone inspection is where we fly up over the roof in instances where we can't walk. If we can walk on a roof, then we will walk on it, and that's preferred, because obviously being there on person, we could obviously pick up more things. But in instances where we can't, we'll fly the drone, because we could still get great shots and great opportunities to find missed areas.
Well, this is just a follow-up. So what are the most common things you would discover using a drone?
A drone, we find cracked tiles all the time on roofs. We find issues with the flashing of the roof as well too. Everything, we could find actually most things with the drones we can, as if we walked on it. We just prefer to walk if we can, because it gives that kind of more one-on-one feeling with it. But the drone, we find cracked tiles, we find issues with the flashing, issues potentially with the chimney that might be coming out from the roof as well too. So there's an array of things that we find with it.
Thank you, Chase. Our next question is from Chris Lai. Does your inspection company do crawl space and to check the foundation?
Yes, we do. We personally crawl. I know there's some companies that utilize mechanical, like almost RC cars to do the inspection. However, we personally get into the crawl space and crawl it in person as long as it, excuse me, is safe and accessible. Sometimes crawl spaces are just simply too small to get into, and we have a specialty crawl guy who's the smallest guy on the team, and so that's his goal, and his role in the team is to squeeze into those tight spots. So he could fit in just about most areas. However, most crawl spaces are accessible, and most crawl spaces we crawl into as long as they're safe and there aren't any issues where maybe there's open wiring covering the hole or something of that nature. But majority of the time, we're in there in person underneath the house crawling.
Okay, I think we're out of questions for you. Thank you for taking our 21 questions. Oh, wait,
Oh, no, oh, we got a couple more. There you go.
a couple more just came in. This next question is from Joyce Shea. How much is your pipe check and how large area do you cover?
So our sewer scoping inspection starts off at 250 and it's to 275 or it's 250 to 475 depending on the size of the home. So if you're dealing with a large estate with a very large clean out and a long drain system, then it costs a little bit more. However, on a regular size home, it's about 250 for a sewer scope inspection. And in terms of an area that we cover, not sure if that's referring to our service area. Again, we service all of Southern California just about. But in terms of the drain out, specifically inspecting the drain out and the sewer line, we go all the way out to the street, which is the city connection, which at that point is the city's responsibility to make sure it's up to date and upkept.
Our next question is from Lloyd Tao. Have your company found rodents or snakes, mouse under the crawl space? And I'll even expand the question even further. So what is the most interesting thing you guys found in that area that you can share with us?
There you go. I mean, because we perform inspections like from the mountains to the desert to the beach, we found everything from rodents to snakes to raccoons. We unfortunately find deceased family pets that might have gone missing underneath the home, like maybe a dead cat. That's happened. I think the craziest one we've ever found is one of our inspectors ran into a bear underneath the house when we were up in Big Bear, the mountain area. Thankfully, it wasn't a full grown bear, thankfully, but that we did find one, which is a pretty crazy thing to see.
Jolie is asking, does your standard inspection cover the swimming pool?
The swimming pool cover within, typically, I believe that's within the pool inspection, not just the standard inspection. However, we try to go a little above and beyond what just the standards of practice require of us. So if there is something egregious that we saw, like for instance, there's large rips or tears in a pool cover, and although maybe you didn't want the full pool inspected, our inspector would still call that out and making sure that your home buyer is aware of it. We try to go a little above and beyond just what's required of us, because oftentimes the scope of an inspection can be kind of limited, but we try to provide more value to your clients. So if we ever see something egregious, then we try to point it out for your home buyer.
Next question is from Jolie. How does the pricing work for a drain inspection?
The drain inspection, our starting point is $250, and where we get that from is because the equipment itself is very expensive to perform a sewer line inspection. So that's just the $250 is the minimum for essentially a single family home. I'm going to say up to 2,500 square feet. And just depending on the number of cleanouts and the number of drain cleanouts that there are on a property, sometimes large estates, you'll have up to 2 or 3 or possibly even 4 of them if it's that big. And in those instances, that's where it starts becoming more expensive, because then we have to start running cameras down each one of those, which obviously is more time consuming and just kind of ebbs and flows with the size of the property and the number of drain outs on the property.
Thank you, Chase. Next question is from Lori Tao. Now, what do you do when you see a beehive? What would you recommend?
We would call that out and just make sure that you are aware of it. Obviously, a beehive isn't necessarily, unless it's an issue where they're getting into the attic space or they're getting into an area of the house. If it's just out in the backyard in the tree, we'll just be making sure that you're aware of it for safety purposes. I know some people are allergic, pets are allergic, issues arise from that. If we see one, you will be warned of it, just on the safety aspect of it, especially if it's intruding into the property.
All right, I think this should end our Q&A section. Thank you so much, Chase, for taking our 21 set of questions.
No, that's what I'm here for. I'm happy to.
All right, now I'm going to hand it over to Pauline. Pauline?
Wow, thank you, Chase and Jeff, for this wonderful section. If you have any further questions, please contact Chase Kerr directly regarding the property inspection. On behalf of West San Gabriel Valley Realtors, we truly thank you again, Mr. Chase Kerr, Morrison Property Inspection, for your informative presentation. A quick reminder, today is our last class presented to you by 2021 Education Committee. And thank you all for your support attending the classes since last year and this year. And we want to thank again Chase, Jeff, Fong, and all of you attending today's class. Stay safe, happy, and healthy. We'll see all of you next year, Tuesday, January 11 at 12 noon, commercial webinar 2022. Happy holidays. Thank you, Chase.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys.
Jeff.
Everyone have a great week.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.